Hello, how are you today? I'm experiencing some difficulties today, but how many do you know of that God is good all the time, and all the time God is still good? Well, I would like to do a message concerning our children today. Well, for starters, we should know that children are special. We should know also that children are God's gift to the world. And without children, this world would be a bit boring, wouldn't you think? But anyway, I would like to do a special on the children because, it's getting close to that time that the children will be returning back to school. And we want them to feel as less pressured as possible. So, what we need to do is to make sure that we continue, if some have not already, to groom your children, to make sure that the children know that they are special and that they are loved. You want to make sure that, kids be able to, identify with who they are and not who others would like for them to be. Such as if you have a shy child and your child wants to come out of the shell but having a little difficulties, what we can do is start to, help them to, get in front of the mirror and, start speaking to themselves, just pretending like they're in a, audience or something. Or, how some kids can get teddy bears and dolls and they line them up and they pretend like they're speaking to them, and then later on you can have them to graduate to a recorder, whether it be camcorder or cassette. They still sell cassettes, in the cassette recorders. And you also can build a family, bring family, whether it be mom, dad, siblings, or just mom and dad for some who don't have siblings. And you can have them to talk to you, and then gradually they'll step out of the shyness. Also, kids who feel like they're not worthy, you want them to feel like that no matter who they are, what statue they are, if their brain cells are fast as some brain cells as others, or if um, their clothing, some kids feel different because of what they wear, or some kids' clothing may not be as clean as theirs or spotless or what have you. So you want to make sure that kids, still be who they are regardless. And you also want kids to you want to also encourage your children on how to be independent, because when they go to school they will have to be in some aspect. Teachers will want them to complete an assignment, they have to do on their own. Also, when they need to go to the bathroom or they need to pull out their information as far as, for lunch, you have to know those numbers. Um, Children being able to carry their own trays for those little ones. Um, you also want to help them, how to build on what they know as far as for starters, the little kids that getting ready to start preschool or um, Head Start or first grade or whatever. You want to make sure that they understand how to um, begin to learn alphabets. You want to teach them how to write their name. You want to teach them your name, your address, well, their address, and you want to teach them phone numbers, for contact. You want to also teach them how to be able to express themselves when things are not going as well as you know they would expect it to. You want them to be able to feel free to go to the teachers and let them know of a concern they may have. They may not say it like, Miss So and so, I have a concern. I'm not saying they're going to say it like that, but when they come and address the teacher, they'll know how to approach them, and they will know how to speak to them and let them know in their way what's going on, what kind of problem they may be having. And you also want to encourage the children to to learn what abilities they may have, talents, gifts, or what have you. Kids, they learn early what they want to do. Some kids began to draw, some kids began to learn how to sing, some dance. I think I just said dance. But anyway, some learn poetry, some learn how to play games early on, and learn technology, because technology is real big in the school systems today. So you want to make sure that they learn how to go about their desires in this world. Also, in your home, you don't never want to beat a child down and tell them they can't be anything, or tell them they're gonna be just like dad, or dad tell them you're just gonna be like your mother. Your mother is this and that, and she's just well that. So you don't want to teach them anything like that. You want to teach them positivity. Also, you want to teach them how to be able to respond in the social setting. You want to teach them good manners. A lot of parents teach their children etiquette. Some teach them how to speak fluently, or speak. Some parents I know, not judging anybody, but they teach their children multiple words. Whether they're big. Some kids can say pronounce big words. Parents need to also teach their children how to, socialize. Don't always be a one person, kind of relationship. Meaning, some kids just want to be to themselves. They don't want to associate with anybody because they don't know how to. So you want to teach your children how to socialize, how to communicate, well with others. Then always want to be solo. You want to be isolated from the others because you don't know how to respond, to conversation or what have you. Also, you want to make sure that children discover who they are, like I said earlier. Discover who they are. You don't want them to always grow up, I want to be like Mike. I want to be like Beyonce. I want to be like who's these other kids out here? Um, anyway, I'm not good on saying a whole lot of big names out here, but anyway, you won't want to always teach them how to be like someone else. Encourage them how to be themselves, because they are really special. They have it. They have the it, but we just got to teach them what the it is. And you don't, especially, you have, you're going to have a whole lot of different children out there. You got, they different and unique in their own way. You have some that faces head on physical problems. You have a lot of disabled children, whether mentally disabled, mentally challenged, physically challenged, some challenged in other ways. So you want to make sure that they be able to respond, by whatever the situation that they may be in, that they'll be able to respond to it. You don't want them to grow up feeling less of a child, less of a person. They got to be able to identify with themselves. Also, you want to make sure that they know that phrase, I am special. I am special. My mom says I'm special. Dad says I'm special. My pastor says I'm special. You want to teach them, you want them to learn that word special. Not saying special like you're special ed or something like that. You don't want to teach kids negative stuff like that. And regardless of their grade level, their IQ level, whatever level that they may be on, teach them that there is something valuable in that. Some kids don't even have it like that. Some kids will be slower than others, but it doesn't make them less of a person. It doesn't make them stupid. It doesn't make them illiterate, belligerent, or whatever you want to say. It doesn't make them like that. They're just unique in their own ways. So we gotta make sure that we tell them. You also want to make sure you tell them how beautiful they are. The little boys, how handsome they are. Little girls, how beautiful, how cute or beautiful they are. Don't ever sit by and watch another one of their siblings to call them ugly or stupid, dumb. You're just, wow, nobody wants to be around you. Make sure you teach them. And for parents who are not always present with their children, the caregivers that takes on the role, grandparents that takes on the role, foster parents, make sure the children still understand their value in this life. They have a place in this life. Their place is not under the bed, not hiding in a closet, not standing on the roof feeling like they want to jump off of it. Teach them that they can stand their ground and they can make a difference in this life, being children, because we all start off as children. We don't start off as adults. So we got to make sure that we remind them we came from a background too. And it's not, the background shouldn't identify who you are, but it should help you to get to where you're trying to go. Backgrounds are backgrounds for a reason, to stay in the background, not in the forefront, in the background. And you also want to make sure, whatever they do, if they make a mistake, teach them that mistakes can be rewritten. You know what I'm saying? Once you write on a piece of paper, you can erase that mistake that you made on the paper. But when you make a mistake in the real world, it's hard to, you can't erase that, because once it's there, it's there. But you can do to change that mistake. You can move forward from that. You can either move forward or retract and go backwards. And you don't want that. You don't want children to always feel like they got to keep taking steps backward in this world. So when they're in school and they make a mistake, teacher or Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so, I made a mistake. How can I fix it? Or what can I do to move forward from that? And this is to the older children, because little children don't think like the way I'm thinking now, and I know older children may not either. But you want to teach them that mistakes shouldn't define who you are, because we all make mistakes. I haven't seen yet not a person who doesn't make a mistake. So you want to teach them that as well. You want to make sure that you begin to teach your children. If you have to read a book to your little ones on how to be, on how on realizing how special they are, do that. They have plenty of books out there. If you don't even have it where you can get to the library, or you have internet or what have you, grab some type of material or by what you already know. Make a difference in your children's lives so they can make a difference in another child's life. Because we need to instill values in children. We need to teach them how to focus on the important things. We need to teach them how to let go of those things that are negative. Teach them. They are a valuable asset into this world today. They are a serious asset. Children are coming up now going into movie, going into acting. Kids are growing up singing. They're becoming stars. Kids are growing up, know their name, they can spell it backwards. They know multiple languages. I mean, not saying all children is well rounded um, or like another child, because all children are not the same. And they also need to know that because your friend may know how to do hair, you may not know how to do hair, but you may know how to do something just as important as that friend. To the little boys, you may not know how to rap or do a semi, or you know what I'm saying. You may not know how to do it like this other little boy, but you have your uniqueness in your own way. You may know how to, like some little boys put their hands under their armpits, whatever. But I'm just saying, just using an example. But we have to teach them that they have their own self worth. They have their own personalities, their own abilities. They have a certain way about themselves that they need to be able to identify with. They're getting ready to go to school, and they need to be head on with what they will face, especially to the kids who are going to the let's see, from leaving middle school going into the high school setting. They need to be able to recognize, who they are. Because when they go into the high school setting, there are going to be a lot of high school kids that treat them differently. But they can't allow those kids to shake them, make them feel less. While the high school kids are trying to feel here because they're high school kids, and they're going to treat the lower level right here. But we all know that it's not a such thing as you're bigger than me, except for size and age, older, or your stature or whatever. But okay, then they may not be on the same level. Education, they may not be on the same level. But one level we know that they're on is that they're kids. And all of the kids are learning. They're in the learning phase. Little kids are in the learning phase, so as the older kids are in learning phases. So nobody can really down anybody. So you want to teach them that they can be accomplishments too. And also, you want to make sure that you have positive parenting skills, in front of the children. I know to the point where some parents get into arguments, and some parents send their children out, although the kids can still hear them, but they send the kids out. Some parents let the kids stay in there and witness, what's going on. And some parents just want the kids to be around because there's no need to shelter them. Because when they out there in the real world or go to someone else's house, they may not cover their ears or say leave the room for a minute because we have a discussion that we have a matter at hand and you don't need to be in here. A lot of parents are not going to do that. But anyway, You just want to make sure that you have positive parenting skills, in front of your children. Also, you want to make sure you encourage healthy eating to the children. Make sure that they understand what it means to eat healthy. Because the what food we put into our bodies, some foods will be digested properly and some will not. But sometimes when we put the good things in our bodies, then our bodies begin to work a lot differently than what we putting all these bad things into our bodies. So you want to make sure that they get that too. Healthy eating makes good living. I say it like that. It can be good living. Also, you want to make sure that you and your child have a good relationship. Because a lot of times when a child and a parent have a bad relationship, sometimes it's hard to get through to either one of them because they both want to be right. And you want to make sure that the parent is in the parent's role and the child is in the child's role. And I know as children age, they tend to know everything, but they have to be still in their space, and the parents still in theirs. And parents don't need to act like that they're not up for correction either, or act like they're too old to be um, educated, because some kids can educate their parents. It's not always the parents educate their children, but children can also reciprocate that. Also, you want to make sure that the children learn leadership. Don't always be passive. Be active too. If your teacher asks you, um, ask another child, do they want to do eraser pounding? Um, do they want to get in front of the line and lead the line? Do they want to lead the lesson for the day or what have you? Or the teacher may be asking questions from last night's lesson or something. Don't be afraid to raise your hand and be proud about it. Let them know that you want to be involved too. You don't want to just sit by or sit back in your chair to be comfortable, but learn how to be a leader. You can start young. It doesn't take you to be old to learn how to lead, but you can lead as a child too. And also encourage them, when they get sick sometimes. Sometimes it's good for them to try to fight it, but not saying that you want them to always step away, from, like, example, if a child say, Mom, I'm not feeling well today, then you of course make sure that the child doesn't have a fever. You make sure that the child's stomach is not aching or what have you, and make sure the child is good in the areas that you can assess. But then you don't always want to make the child feel, well, I'm sick because I don't want to go to school today. Someone's been bothering me, or I've been bullied, or someone's always taking my lunch money, or what have you. You don't want to make them feel like it's okay to play sick when you want to play sick. But if you are sick, if you feel like you can make it, then let's try to go to school. But if you cannot make it, then I'll keep you home and I'll see if it's that serious that I might need to seek medical attention for you. But we don't want you. And if you can make it to school and something goes wrong, you go to your nurse or what have you. See if your teacher will allow you to go to your nurse so she can get help for you. And if need be, you need to go home. They'll call your parent. But you want to make sure that the child is not always looking for an excuse not to be in a school setting. And the parent, of course, need to make sure that they teach them, how to, um, how to survive to be a survivor. You know, you don't want them to, every time they go out, they feel like they can't go out alone, or they feel like they can't, um, be a part of anything. I say a part of like a conversation with someone, or a child may want to go to the mall with his or her friends, and they feel like they can't go because they don't measure up or what have you. So you don't ever want a child to know to go to start thinking in that realm. But anyway, children will be returning back to school soon. For some, probably have already started. But anyway, because for the year-round kids. But parents can also pray for them. Before they leave home. Go ahead and start grooming them. You know, so you won't wait till the last minute, and then you forget. Oh, let me go over my checklist. I don't forgot this, or I don't forgot that. So you don't want to do that and start pushing back what you should go ahead and start doing now. And also, make sure your child is well kept, um, sleeping properly. Go to bed on time. You want to um, make sure that they take baths. When they should, so they'll stay in that flow. Bath at night, or bath or shower early morning. But anyway, make sure they maintain some clean, healthy habits. And doing the homework, make sure they're doing the homework at night. Don't wait till in the morning, because sometimes your schedule may be off a little bit. Um, Make sure children, for girls, girls have more to do in the mornings than boys do. So what the girls can do is try to do what they can at night. So when, like, ironing their clothes, we know boys does iron their clothes too. Parents iron their little boys' clothes or whatever, but some don't. And girls have a little more grooming to do than boys, so they're gonna need that time. They're gonna need that time to make sure all this takes place early in the morning. Well, at night. And then whatever else that the girls can do, that they when they get ready to try to get their hair all fixed all pretty and whatnot. Girls gonna need that time too. So that's why they need to prepare at night. Not saying we don't know if we're gonna live to see the next day, but just in case, you make sure that they're prepared. And for the little kids, little kids roll over and get out the bed and get dressed for some, but you want to make sure that they still be clean as well. I know they may not have a bad smell as the older kids, you know, um, from playing all day or whatever, but they still would need to maintain some clean habits as well. And make sure the children knows who their parents are, know how to get to their address, or be able to tell another person, that not any person, but um, the teachers, doctors or whatever, nurse in the school setting or whatever, how to get, if something comes about, they'll know their mom's name, dad's name, phone number, address, how to get in contact with them, or have someone on standby. Want to encourage kids to be in a group, never stray alone if you can. Go a buddy system. Um, Also, teach kids how to share. That's number one. Teach them how to share. Teach them how to love. Teach them not to be selfish. Um, and it's a whole lot of other things that I didn't mention, but I'm gonna bring this video to a close. I just want to make sure that we brush up on our thinking, strategies or what have you, that will help the kids when they get ready to return back to school. So this is just a live broadcast right now to teach, to go about doing, being better for the kids when they return back into the school systems. So this is just a free speech. It's not nothing. It's something serious, but it's not wherein it's formal or anything. So be graceful. And this is Sherry on Word on the Street. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't get it in his name. You had to get it in yours. It's in his name. So how is it in your name and they saying Miss Jones? How is it in your name and they saying Miss Jones? I mean, in his name they saying Miss Jones. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Love you. Love you too. Bye bye. Let's see what's going on here. Oh my God. $18.30. 150. Nah, they took $200 out. Not no 150. They got two down here. Oh yeah, when she called me back and say, Terry, they got you down here for more than one transaction. My account is completely exhausted. Well, not completely because I got $18. Wow. Oh my Lanta. Anybody else try to take anything out, they won't get it. She said she'll give me that 150 back. I'll put that right back into my account because I gotta pay for a room next week. Oh my Lanta, I remember that. Say, Terry, they got you down here for more than one transaction. Oh my Lanta, my Lanta. My Lanta. My Lanta. Take this off. And 18, 22, 39. So this one. I already did. No, this is the one I gotta do. Put up there now. Hello, everybody. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Oh, Lord, I still got it on the string. Okay.